Hey everyone, what's going on? Glad you're here. Nintendo just pushed out System Update 21.0 for both the original Switch family and the Switch 2. And there's actually more tucked inside than the usual stability line. I'll walk you through what changed, why it matters, some quick tips to try right after updating, and a realistic sense of who benefits most. If you're weighing whether to update, it's absolutely worth it. And if you've already updated, this will help you find the little switches and toggles that otherwise hide 3 menus deep. Let's start with the thing you'll notice almost immediately. On the home menu, you get clearer indicators that show when a game is coming from a cartridge versus a digital license. It sounds tiny, but it's the kind of clarity that ends a surprisingly common confusion. Picture your library row. You move a game icon, you launch it, and you get the prompt to insert a card or confirm a license. With the new indicator, you'll save those extra clicks. It's useful if you share a household where some games live on physical cards while others are installed digitally, or if you're juggling a smaller microSD card and need to remember what needs the cartridge handy. It's also perfect for collectors who rotate their top shelf regularly. One glance tells you which cases to reach for. Now, while we're talking software sources, there's a neat change around virtual game cards. You can now download data for a virtual game card even if you've turned off the Use Online License option. In plain language, if you're running a setup that leans on locally held entitlements and you prefer not to constantly ping license checks, you can still pre-download the data you'll need. That's a welcome quality of life fix for anyone who travels frequently or has inconsistent internet. Flip the toggle in the virtual game cards options, line up what you want downloaded when you do have a stronger connection, and you're set when you're offline later. For anyone who uses cloud backup, a lot of us do without thinking, Nintendo cleaned up some of the save data cloud backup messaging. Instead of vague prompts, you'll get clearer feedback about what's backing up, what isn't, and why. If you hop between an original Switch and a Switch 2 in the same account, this little clarity boost matters. You'll spend less time wondering whether the most recent save actually made the trip. Speaking of trips, system-to-system transfers got smarter. When moving from a Switch to a Switch 2, you can tell the process not to automatically re-download all your software on the new system. That's a big deal for people with limited storage or data caps, and it speeds up the just get me playing part of a migration. You can also choose whether to transfer album data, those screenshots and clips we all promise we'll organize later. If you're starting fresh and don't want to lug gigabytes of clips over, turn that off and you'll finish quicker. VR mode gets a small but impactful tweak. Volume control from quick settings. No more popping out, hunting through submenus, or yanking your headset off just to find a volume slider. Pull down quick settings and move on. It's the kind of ergonomic fix that doesn't scream on a features list, but changes how comfortable the feature is to actually use. You'll also find the classic stability improvements, and while that phrase has become a meme across console updates, it still counts. A smoother sleep-wake cycle here, a tidier Bluetooth handshake there. Those aren't headline-worthy, but if you've ever had a random crash on Wake or a stutter resuming a download, you know why they keep chipping away at it. Now, if you're on Switch 2, there are a bunch of extras tailored specifically for you. Downloads got an all-clear button. When you've kicked off a handful of patches and a couple of full game downloads and then decide you want to reprioritize everything, you can now cancel all active downloads at once. That's less fiddling, fewer confirmations, and more actual control. Also, on bundle consoles, you'll see a receive software icon that jumps you straight into eShop to claim the included game. It removes the guesswork of where did my bundled title go and gets you to the fun part faster. Friends and social touches see a subtle but welcome change. The users you've played with section can now show folks you interacted with in your friends' game chat rooms. The intent is to reflect organic playgroups more accurately. If you joined a friend's room and played with a couple of new people for 2 hours, it makes sense for those usernames to surface in that list. It's easier to reconnect the next night without manually trading codes or chasing them through search. That ties into the broader refinements to game chat itself. The system won't auto-sleep on you while you're in a voice session. No more awkward silences because the console decided you were idle mid-conversation. There's also a toggle for chat audio panning, which some people love for positional awareness and others find distracting. Now you can pick what feels natural. And if you undock to move rooms or dock to capture footage, game chat doesn't fall apart during the network transition. It keeps the conversation going while the system switches routes, which makes couch to dock and back again a lot less clunky. Accessibility gets a meaningful bump. Text-to-speech speed can now go up to 400% instead of topping out around 300%, which is great for folks who process audio faster or want TTS to match the speed they use in other apps. Japanese keyboard users also get clearer readouts of the predictive character, a small change that makes typing with auditory feedback more coherent. The thread here is consistency. With more people using TTS across their devices, Nintendo raising the ceiling here makes things feel aligned with what's possible on phones and PCs. Audio nerds, you get a treat too. There's a new choice between a stable mode and a low latency mode for wireless audio with the Switch 2 Pro controller. In practice, this is about trade-offs. Stable mode aims to guarantee a rock-solid connection even in noisier RF environments, while low latency reduces delay so what you do and what you hear click together more tightly. If you play rhythm-heavy games or fighters where audio cues matter, low latency will feel snappier, while stable is better if your room has interference from other devices. Try both. Fire up a game that makes timing obvious, pause, toggle, unpause, and see what feels right. You'll feel it within a few minutes. Display settings got some naming polish. HDR output is now labeled System Screen's HDR output, which is a mouthful, but more precise. The idea is to make it crystal clear that this toggle applies to the system's own screen context, rather than implying it's a global HDR toggle for every scenario you might hook the console into. There's also a smoother path to adjust screen size, which you'll appreciate if you've ever bounced between handheld and docked across different TVs and monitors. You can get the picture boxed in just right without wading through a labyrinth. Battery care settings are renamed too. Instead of the more abstract battery care, you'll see something like stop charging around 80 to 90%. That's a clearer description of what's happening. The system caps charging to reduce long-term wear. For people who keep their console plugged in on a desk dock most of the week, enabling that can help the battery age more gracefully. Remember, lithium cells prefer not to sit pinned at 100% forever. If you need a full charge for a trip, you can always flip it off the night before and top up. There are also 2 new system languages available, Thai and Polish. That change is bigger than it looks because language support on the system side encourages more developers to localize menus, subtitles, and UI for those audiences. And even when a specific game doesn't support a language, having a broader system UX in your preferred language makes the console friendlier for families and younger players. Let's talk about speed because everyone asks, does it feel faster? System updates like this are more about feel than frames. If you hop through downloads and friends lists regularly, it does feel tighter, mostly due to smarter behaviors rather than raw performance jumps. Canceling all downloads at once, jumping straight to claim bundled software, and avoiding sleep during voice sessions shave off friction. None of those are flashy features, but together they create that sense that the console is cooperating with you. A few quick pointers to try after you update. Head to System Settings and run through 3 spots. System Update to confirm you're good. Controllers and sensors for that audio mode choice if you're on Switch 2 with the Pro controller. And Users, Friend Settings to peek at users you've played with and see how it's populating post-update. Then check your data management if you're preparing to migrate from a Switch to a Switch 2. There's literally no reason to re-download everything if you're planning a curated setup. Flip off the automatic re-download software option, bring over what you care about first, and leave the rest queued for later. Last, pop down Quick Settings during VR mode and test the volume slider so you know where it lives when you actually want it. Now, how about who benefits most? If you mainly play single-player games on one console, the home menu indicators, the VR quick volume, and the clearer cloud backup language will probably be your favorite upgrades. Small, but satisfying. If your world revolves around multiplayer nights and party voice, the game chat tweaks and the don't sleep mid-session behavior are huge. And if you're juggling a growing backlog plus limited storage, the downloads overhaul will make your life easier. The audio mode toggle is a sleeper hit. It's rare for console makers to give you a clean, explicit switch between latency and stability. Use it intentionally. Stable mode is your leave it there choice for most scenarios. Low latency is your game night choice when timing matters. Let's set expectations too. This isn't a radical redesign of the interface or a whole new section of features. It's Nintendo sanding down rough edges and responding to real-world use. If you were waiting for entirely new apps or sweeping social features, that's not what this is. But if you're paying attention to the little irritations that add up, long migrations, misfired license checks, controllers falling out of sync with audio, voice sessions timing out, this release addresses a bunch in one pass. It's the sort of maintenance that keeps a platform feeling alive. A quick word on best practices after any system update. If you use Bluetooth headsets or controllers, unpair and repair if something feels off after the reboot. It shouldn't be necessary, but it's a fast way to clear out stale handshakes. If you run a microSD card near full, this is a good moment to archive a couple of games you're not playing. The console often performs better when it isn't juggling installs on the last few gigabytes. And if you haven't checked your cloud backup rules in a while, do a quick spot check on your top 3 most played games. Confirm the most recent save time looks correct, and if you play on more than one system, manually trigger a backup after a long session just to let the new messaging show you what's happening. If you haven't updated yet, it's straightforward.